Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. Dr. Green and I will both have a brief statement, and we certainly will open it up for questions. The Kansas City Public Schools greatly appreciates the contributions of Superintendent Dr. Stephen Green toward improving the educational experiences of the 15,000 students in our district. The administration's focused efforts under Dr. Green's leadership has garnered attention and praise from Kansas City parents, community and civic leaders, education officials, and state and local elected officials. As a result, Dr. Green has come to the attention of other school districts, seeking a talented leader, and that has opened up a new opportunity for him. Dr. Green has informed the board of his intention to accept a superintendent position with the DeKalb County Schools in Georgia. Dr. Green will, pending approval of their board of directors, assume that role on July 1 and will no longer serve as our superintendent in Kansas City. We wish Dr. Green and his wife Kim the very best in this new adventure. 4 years ago, Dr. Green answered our call in KCPS's greatest hour of need. He stepped into an impossible situation and immediately set to work aligning staff efforts and student focus toward achievement. For the past 4 years, student achievement has improved, enrollment has increased, school finances have stabilized, and perhaps most importantly, the board and the superintendent have worked closely and collaboratively to forge a new day and a new identity for the Kansas City Public Schools. For his efforts, this board and this community thank him. Steve's commitment to this district is rivaled only by his commitment to his family. But we are certainly disappointed that he is not going to continue as our leader. We understand his desire to move closer to his children and grandchildren. The DeKalb County Schools are getting an exceptional leader and an even better man. I know there are many questions about what comes next. We will answer a few of those tonight, but we will have more answers in the weeks to come. I will share that first, the board will begin the process of selecting an interim candidate. We are looking at 2 internal candidates, and the board hopes to complete that process judiciously, but with the proper diligence required. The board has also decided to form a search committee of board members who will begin to develop our process as we begin to look for our next leader. I want to stress that this committee will work in concert with the full board and the broader community of stakeholders, families, and staff to ensure that our next leader is every bit as successful as Dr. Green. To our families, we affirm to you that we are committed to maintaining stability and improving performance. To our students, we affirm to you that Dr. Green's efforts to increase access to early college, to invest in partnerships, and to support every student's individual needs will continue. The KCPS family and the leadership team, many of whom are here tonight, we ask that you stand ready to work with us to ensure that this pause is merely a short interlude on our journey to a brighter tomorrow. To the broader community, we ask for your support, your engagement, and your continued belief. Today, we thank Steve for his amazing work over the past 4 years, and we begin the process of looking for the next great leader of the Kansas City Public Schools. Dr. Green.
Thank you. Members of the committee who are here today, I come before you and pleased to share with you that the Kansas City Public Schools is more financially fit, more operationally sound, more academically strong than it has been. And when Kim and I talked about this opportunity, we said it would take something very, very unique that would cause us to leave Kansas City. We love the work here. We love Kansas City. We love the children here. We love the parents here. And I hope that that has been evident in the commitment that we have made to Kansas City, not only in my role as superintendent, but also in my role prior to that as President and CEO of Kaufman Scholar. The unique set of circumstances that would cause us to leave Kansas City have to do with our children and our grandchildren. We have 4 children. 2 of them live in the Atlanta area. We have 4 grandchildren. 3 of them live in the Atlanta area. And Kim and I had talked about the only thing that would cause us to consider leaving Kansas City is if the opportunity presented it would allow us to get closer to them. As I've told Mr. Heil and others, you can only FaceTime and Skype so much. And that falls short of being with your actual children and grandchildren. And so, in essence, when the position of superintendent at DeKalb County School District was presented to me by a search firm in mid-April, Kim and I talked extensively about that and said we at least would consider the option and the opportunity. Whether it happened and materialized or not was one thing, but we would at least give it a close examination. Things moved pretty swiftly because there were, I believe, 120 some applicants, and then it quickly narrowed at the end of May to 8. 8 were interviewed on May 1st and 2nd. I was interviewed on May 2nd. And the next day after that, I was informed that the plan was to go forward with a single candidate finalist. And I've taken every effort to make sure I kept the board informed as this process moved forward. I very much love Kansas City Public Schools. I love the work that we're doing here. And at the same time, I love my children and I love my grandchildren. And the opportunity to continue some of the work in a different location and be close to them is a unique intersection of an opportunity that we could not pass up. And that has led us to where we are today. I hope that if, in my departure, and I know that the Kansas City Public Schools is in good shape. It has a great board who supports the work that the administration and the teachers are doing. We would not have been able to achieve the kinds of rapid turnaround that we have achieved without the support and the green light, no pun on words, being given to staff by the board. That simply would not have happened. I also know that I have a superbly talented team who is here, boots on the ground, and highly skilled, and they will ensure that what has been accomplished will be sustained and enhanced. We are perched and poised for another major announcement coming soon, that the Kansas City Public Schools will be eligible, we think, for full accreditation. That happens through hard work, that happens through focused work, that happens through collaboration as teachers, staff, administration, and board. That's how it happens. The system is in place for Kansas City to continue its rise. The infrastructure is here. That was what was missing. And so what is left is to sustain that system and deepen that system and refine that system going forward. And I have every bit of confidence that will happen. I want to thank the board and thank everyone for their support as we have made a very difficult decision, but believe me, it has nothing to do with any desire to remove myself from this board, from this administration, from the staff. It has everything to do with my desire to be with my children and grandchildren during these very formative years. My 3 grandsons are 3, 3, and 7. There are those formative stages that I want to be with them as they go through these stages in their lives. Thank you.
Open it up.
John, is this going to cost the district any money?
We'll get back to you on that, Mike. I don't foresee this costing us any money in terms of Are you referring to paying out future
Buyouts,
contracts?
anything like that?
No, this is a resignation.
When is your last day going to be?
Well, extend through, at least through June 30th, I will fulfill the school year. And we'll talk about it if there needs to be additional time to help the transition run smoothly.
Will you have a say in who replaces you?
I think my input will be valued, but it will be input.
So will you be part of the hiring process for whoever is to take your job?
That's a board decision.
Okay.
That's not my call.
Okay.
How soon might the interim be named?
Again, the board wants to go through a pretty judicious process, but we certainly understand that we need to be quick but not hurry.
Dr. Green, can you talk a little bit about the instability that this decision of yours is creating for a district that had been very unstable and then seemed to get stabilized? That's what you're getting credit for, today, stabilizing the district. Now you're creating some more instability.
Well, I think the stability is not just with me. I think, as I mentioned before, there is a solid structure in place. That's where the stability lies. The infrastructure and the system and the way in which that system is anchored into the culture of this school district. That's where the real stability is. And I think that we have established that kind of structure that's in place that, yes, there'll be a period of search, et cetera, but I think sustaining that system, the stability will continue.
Under your leadership, the district was moving towards possibly partnering with charter schools such as Academy Lafayette. Is that going to be a priority for the board in picking a new candidate, someone that's willing to work with charter schools?
I believe there are a great many things we'll consider when looking at our next candidates, and that'll be a process the board works through.
Dr. Green, when you first took this job, you had promised to end the revolving door of superintendents. Did that promise factor into your decision to leave?
Certainly it did, but I think my tenure has been, all things compared, longer than some for quite some time. So even with 4 years, I think, what the real attention should be on what has been accomplished in those 4 years and what the trajectory that the district is on and the structure that is in place that can be leveraged and built upon and extended. So my hope is that upon my departure, this district is much more stable, much more focused, and is perched and poised for continual upward climb.
Dr. Green, if you had stayed, what would your goal have been for the next school year?
We had talked about, and we're still talking about, we have SMART goals, and John Hattie has come up with the notion of smarter goals. The acronym, specific, they're measurable. Instead of attainable, they're ambitious. They are, in many ways, time-bound. And then the E and the R refer to evaluation and reflection. We would have been at a stage, and we still will be at a stage in which, having made progress, a learning organization, a smart organization, reflects, evaluates, dispenses with that which is not going to advance, and locks in and dials in on those things that have gotten you to where you are and take you to the next level. So that would have been and will be, I think, from a team going forward, because that's what we've been talking about. When we reach full accreditation status, how do we conduct ourselves as a smarter organization, building on what we've done and enhance that and make it stronger.
Dr. Green, you leaving, how will that affect getting to the full accreditation? You mentioned a pause in progress. Can you address that a little bit?
Well, the data's already in. The assessments have been taken, and the areas of attendance are still to be decided, but the graduation rate, the college and career readiness, those are already pretty much set. And we have a pretty good predictive index of where we think we're going to be. So that was the 2014-15 school year. So the stage is really set for it. Now we're looking at 16-17 and repeat and going further.
You still think it's 110?
Yes,
Higher? You still, or is it just
in the range.
How hard is it going to be to keep that up? Because it's probably going to be another year before the state board to be willing to give the district the full accreditation. So you're going to need to sustain this for another year. And how, what's going to have to happen to keep that score up for the next year?
Well, that's smarter rather than SMART goals. That's evaluating and reflecting and building in the kinds of mechanisms that will allow you to sustain it. Curricular work still needs to be done. Enhanced instruction needs to take place. Those are the kinds of things that sustain a working system that's already in play, but still needs to be further refined. So I think we are well equipped right now to make that step. But I also say that if we earn full accreditation, we will be in Jefferson City to demand that we get what we earn. And I think there are other districts that are going to fall into that same category, and we have already started to mobilize.
Dr. Green, are you going to take any of your staff members here with you?
That is not in the plan right now. It should be the selected candidate.
Dr. Green, you build a lot of relationships with the teacher, with the parents and the students in this district. Is there anything you want to say to them about how hard this decision was for you to leave them?
Well, no, certainly it was. Any decision like this is a struggle, but when you get down to a struggle around your commitment and the work and the relationships I have with Mr. Heil, Mr. Rogers, with board members and members of the community, that's tough. It's very tough. But at the same time, when Kim and I talked about this, will this opportunity come before us again in which a position that extends the kind of work that I'm doing, but more importantly, gets us close to our children? How long will that be before that comes across our radar screen again? And if we don't, will we have the second thoughts about we should have, we could have, and we didn't? And so this is where we are. It's a struggle.
Was the job on your radar before you were contacted by the search firm?
No.
Dr. Green, if you had to draft a letter to the parents, what would it say?
The letter to the parents would say that we've been through a mighty struggle together. We still have a struggle to go. But I hope that the relationships that we've built, the priority that we've put on what you say and think through the parent engagement symposiums, through the other kinds of interactions that we've had with the DAC and meeting regularly and hearing concerns and addressing those concerns, I am optimistic about the future of the Kansas City Public Schools and optimistic about the inclusion and collaboration that will continue to take forth and as we go forward and be well, because things are well.
Dr. Green, do you leave with any what ifs, anything else that you wish you would have been able to fulfill in your time here? Granted, this opportunity, you never know when it's going to come around, but you made a promise to the district. Do you feel like you lived up to what you wanted to do?
Well, I promised to bring stability. I promised to increase student achievement. I promised to get to stave off state takeover. And I think with the collaboration with the board and my wonderful team, executive team, and this community, the Kansas City Public Schools is back, and it's back in a mighty way. People who were not willing to engage with us and partner with us are with us. The philanthropic community, the business community. We had several board members go down to Jefferson City and interact with lobbyists and legislators, and they all sang the praises of the Kansas City Public Schools. I met with the governor just yesterday. He wanted to hear, we went after the press conference on the Free Enterprise Center, we sat separately and talked about House Bill 42. He wanted to hear what the Kansas City Public Schools would have to say about that, and he wanted to know how it would affect us. I don't know if we would have had that conversation several years ago.
What'd you tell him on 42?
And it needs to go.
What did you tell you? Because why? Can you elaborate?
Because it poses a significant threat to, this is another press conference, but it poses a significant threat to our stability. It could actually detract from the progress that we've made in a kind of an open enrollment situation, and it does not accomplish its intended outcome of fixing the transfer. So it doesn't accomplish what it's supposed to do, and it actually could potentially do more damage to a district like Kansas City that is clearly on the upward climb, and it could in some way create a problem for them.
Did you tell the governor of your plans?
Yes, I've called him today.
Oh, I'm talking about.
Not during that meeting, not during the meeting yesterday, no.
Did he tell you, any clue if he's gonna sign or veto it?
No, we did not.
Dr. Green, what would the message be to the teachers? They've been making all the efforts in the district possible, and they followed your leadership pretty much because they believe in you.
There's a point in which you follow a leader and you believe in the leader, but the leader's responsibility is to make sure that those who are following them believe in themselves. And I would say to the teachers, oh, shoot. You could do this. I've just helped you believe in yourself.
I think we're good.
Thank you, Dr. Green.